Hello, my name is Sol and this is Coog Cinema Reviews. So today we'll be talking about A Tale as Old as Time. Just a small film that just made 170 million this weekend, no big deal. And that movie is The Beauty and the Beast live action. So don't worry if you have not seen this film, it's okay. This is a spoiler-free review. The story is about this young woman named Belle. She lives in this village with her father, and one day his father ends up on these beast castles by accident. The beast decides to capture Belle's father and make him his slave forever. Belle goes and tries to save his father and decides to trade places with her father, and she's willing to serve life sentence there. At the same time, the beast is under a curse when he got casted when he was young because he was a bad person, and he has to learn how to love, and someone has to love him back in order for him to become human and the people who used to work at his castle. Now, I feel everyone knows this story already, but if you have not seen this film at all, like the original one, then there might be some spoilers, but come on, the majority of us have seen this film. It's a classic. It was the first movie that was nominated for Best Picture ever. Now let's talk about, is the original better? Is this one better? Are they just both the same? Well, honestly, I love this film and I think it was better than the original film. I know it's a big statement to say because there's a lot of people right now that either love it or hate it. I don't see that. It kind of feels like La La Land, where everyone kind of like had a really big opinion and no one was really in the middle. But let's talk more about this film and why I loved it so much. First of all, I want to talk about the characters, of course. In the top of my list is Dan Stevens. Dan Stevens is the actor who played the Beast. Now, no one was talking about, Dan Stevens, so I didn't go with high expectations. Everyone was just excited to see Emma Watson and I can't pronounce his name, the guy who played Cogsworth, and this other, Emma Thompson. They're all these big A-list celebrities. But Dan Stevens has had a lot of big roles, especially in Downton Abbey, but he's not that famous yet. And so I went with, normal expectation, and I was blown away by his performance. He was my favorite actor of the entire film. His acting was so real. When he had to be mean, he was really, really mean. When he had to be nice and sweet, you could really feel that. And he was just such a round character that you can see him, how he's becoming more human and human as the movie progresses. And it's a wonderful thing that, I always like the original Beast, and this one has something extra special. And it's really impressive because the way the animation works for the Beast is that, for films like Avatar or Tintin, they use actors and they put them in these bodysuits, and they have this camera on their faces, and they all did the motion and the acting at the same time. They would capture the body and then the face also with this camera that hang in the face. But with the Beast in this case was really different. Why? Because it was done in two parts. One was the body, so Dan Stevens would act, his character with Emma Watson live, and that was only the body. But then for the face, they would call him a week after, and he was in this room, they put all these dots on his face and had I don't know how many cameras, and he had to react and reenact all these scenes he had done with Emma Watson, only in just a room, and he had to do all his faces and, the expressions in the voice. And then they had to combine both of that. So it's something that it's new, actually. It has never been done that way. And I think it was something very impressive and really admirable. Emma Watson, I think she was really good. She was really good. I liked her. I always thought that physically and, as a person, she always fit as a perfect Belle. She, Emma Watson as a person, she's really beautiful. She's really smart, and she's really a role model for women. So I always thought she was going to be the perfect Belle. But as I started going through some trailers, I was like, I don't know how I feel about her. But then going to the film, I saw her, and she was really good. Many people were worried about her singing because in the trailers there was a lot of auto-tune, but honestly her singing was really good. Of course, not perfect Broadway, but it was real. I enjoyed it. Maybe there was one or two moments where I was just like, ugh. But in general, she was really enjoyable. And, you know, her singing was really well done. And that's, you know, it's her first time doing that, so that's really impressive. But my problem with Emma Watson in this film was her acting and emotion. She did have really good, strong points in this film, for sure, but there were some key moments where she really lacked emotion, where, you know, you had to see this person falling slowly in love with the Beast, and sometimes, you know, she can be singing this song, and she's singing it beautifully, but you can't see much on her face. I'm not saying she was terrible, not at all, but I'm saying that, in fact, there was points in the film where she lacked some emotion. But overall, I really liked it, both of these actors together. I feel they had great chemistry, and they were simply a great match. And now we're gonna talk about, you know, the other characters. Two big ones are Gaston and LeFou. Gaston was, for me, I think he was a great choice. It was definitely different body-wise, you know, because Luke Evans is not as muscular as the original Gaston. But he's truly a really great actor. But I think the problem with Gaston was that when it came to comedy and, you know, all the beginning of the movie, usually, he was not as charismatic or a womanizer as the original one. But then when it came to, you know, Gaston getting scary at the end, you know, we all know that last scene in the original film where he's just scary, he portrayed that really well, to the point I was like, oh my gosh, Gaston, like, why, how dare you, you know. I really disliked him at the end, and that's a great job for Luke Evans, who plays Gaston. For the comedy part though, I think the writers also toned him down, like his character was a bit, he was indeed funny, I'm not saying he wasn't at all, because he had really some great lines for sure, but I think it was not as theatrical, you know, he wasn't as big and as, you know, exaggerated, it's like, hey girl, like, touch my bicep kind of person, you know. He was aware that everyone loved him, but he did nothing about it. That's the best way I can point out. He's still a great job though, but at the beginning he was kind of missing a little spice. And LeFou, his like little sidekick, honestly, I think Josh Gad, of course, is a legend, you know, he plays Olaf in Frozen. But for sure, I think LeFou was also changed in a good way and in a bad way. In the good way, in the sense that there's so much character development. You actually care about this character now. In the original, he was just for laugh, you know, he was just a foil, no big deal. But in this one, he's an actually character that you want to see and you care about him. And you see a character development in him. He's rounded now, and that was something that got me really excited. But the bad part though is that he wasn't as funny. He was funny, but not as funny as the original. He was not as goofy, and, you know, he was more serious. Which maybe if I watch it again, I'll like know that in advance and enjoy it more. But since at first I was kind of like, did not expect him to be more serious at the original, so I was kind of like, oh, I did not expect that. And for the rest of the furniture and the servants in the household, like Lumiere, Plumet, they were all wonderful. Their character design was really great. I'm going to talk later on about the CGI, but they were really wonderful with their performance. Ewan McGregor, you know, he's famous for Moulin Rouge, he's a big actor, and I was kind of worried about him playing Lumiere, but I think he was really self-conscious about his French accent. He's married to a French woman, but he was like, my French accent is really bad. But I think he did a really good job. Emma Thompson was the perfect Mrs. Potts. She was charming and adorable. Chip was also really cute and adorable. Plumet and Lumiere, the best couple ever, so cute. Who else? And also the new furniture characters. This is not a spoiler again, because we have seen it in the trailers, we have seen it in the posters, is the wardrobe and the piano. Well, the wardrobe you've seen in the original one, but the piano you have not. And they barely have any lines, but it's like the moments that are there, they're really enjoyable and fun. They're all overall all great, and their design of all of them were really great. I like them all. I was at first kind of like, I don't know what I feel about Plumet, because she's like a bird. So, but you know, immediately I was cool with it and I got used to it, and she was really elegant. And then we also have Belle's dad, which Kevin Kline, I'm not saying Calvin Klein, Kevin Kline, there you go. He did such a wonderful job as Belle's dad. It's definitely, you learn so much more than from the original one. He's just, you can really see how much he loves Belle. You can really see this relationship between father and daughter that is so strong, and it's really wonderful to see that in a film. And yeah, that was one of the, I guess, the hearts of this film for sure, to see how much each of them care for one another so much. I think that was a really strong thing about this film. Talk about the cinematography. I was kind of a bit worried because the director of this movie is Bill Condon. If you haven't seen him, he directed the last 2 Twilight films, which we can, some of us agree that they're not that great. But I actually was really impressed. You know, it was a really expensive film. It was like $160 million to be made. But it was so wonderful. It was really, really wonderful. Like, there were some, I don't want to give any spoilers, but there were really good transitions that connect each scene in a magical way. That's the best word to describe this film, magical. It just brings you to this world and you don't want to leave. It's just everything about it, from the costume, from the music, everything is just so wonderful, but not in a cheesy way. That is important, because Cinderella live action was really over the top, like frosting, it just didn't feel real. When I talk about the Beast CGI, because many people were worried about this, and I can tell you I do not have a problem with this. Honestly, you know, it's not as detailed as, you know, Kong from Kong's Island, or, you know, it's just not super realistic, but I never felt like I was like, oh, this doesn't make sense. You know, it just matches with the world, and I really enjoyed it. And I think it's also because of Dan Stevens' performance that it's so good that you just believe it, for sure. There were maybe 1-2 scenes I can think right now in my head that you were like, okay, that's CGI for sure. But the rest, you know, when he's just with Belle, it just feels so real that you simply believe it. You simply believe it. And like I mentioned, for the other furniture, like, you know, Lumiere, Plumet, and their design, they were all really realistic and different. You know, the wardrobe is so different from the original one, but they're all created in such an intelligent way, and they're really creative, and it just makes sense. You see them and, you know, you believe them. It's such a really tough task to make these 2 cartoon characters to 3D, you know, because you can believe this clock is talking to you in the cartoon one, but if you make it realistic, how can you believe that a clock is talking to you? How can you make that line for you to believe it? And I think they did a wonderful job with that. I was never like, okay, these are just puppets or just CGI, you know. I believe them. That's Cogsworth, that's Lumiere. Hi, okay, they're singing, be our guest right now. It's happening. And I think that's a great thing. I hope they get nominated for, of course they will get nominated for the Oscars for Best Visual Effects, because they really deserve it. They did a wonderful job. Also, we're going to talk about the dress. The dress was something really controversial. Something I really disliked in the beginning. When I first saw the picture, I was like, what? That is the dress, the iconic dress. Where's the gloves? Where's, you know, this looks kind of like a bad prom dress, you know? But then I saw this film, and, you know, I don't think it's more pretty than the original, for sure, because the original is gorgeous. But I think this one just fits perfectly with Belle. You know, even though Emma Watson would have looked beautiful with the original dress, I think this one fits more with the changes they did to this Belle. Because this Belle, we're going to talk later a little bit about, you know, this is not a spoiler again, because there's been interviews, there's been all over, it's been on the trailers that you see her, that she's more, you know, feminist, and more like, you know, let's get, you know, I'm not just gonna read, I'm gonna actually learn little girls, I'm gonna teach little girls how to read, you know. And you can really see that in the dress, you know, it really matches her personality. She doesn't have to look super fancy and elegant. It's still a beautiful, you know, dress, but it's more, okay, I'm just gonna finish it there. It just fits her personality and her character, and it just makes sense. That's So my opinion changed while I was watching the film. So maybe if you originally didn't like the dress while watching the trailers and stuff like that, maybe once you watch the film, you'll appreciate it. Not love it maybe, but appreciate it. We're gonna talk about the songs now. All the classics are here, for sure. They don't have Human Again, which it wasn't the original one, but they did like a deluxe version, the original one, and they had it Human Again. That's one of the songs. They don't have that one here. They have one that is like about the same thing, about this. The song talks about the same thing, but it's a different melody and lyrics. But it's pretty much the same story they're telling. But about the classics, all of them were executed really well. Like, of course, there were some of them which I was like, okay, I don't like that much about this or about that. But overall, I really, really liked all of them. They were, they made me smile, and they were just so much fun, and it was so interesting to see them in a new way, in a more realistic way. It's just more interesting to see these lines. They're so iconic. To see my younger self, singing bonjour, bonjour, it's just, and to see it happen in real life, it's so exciting and fun, and all the costumes, like I mentioned before, they're beautiful, and all the dancing is beautiful also. It's just, the sets are so magnificent, you saw it in the trailer when she sings Belle. It's just massive. It's massive and so detailed. That's what I love about this film. It was so detailed in every little aspect, from every song. It was just, they really made sure that they stay true to these songs. We're gonna talk about the new musical numbers. I'm not gonna be any spoilers. It was released many weeks ago. There's 3 new songs, and one of them I mentioned in the beginning of this video. It was Evermore, sung by Dan Stevens, the Beast, and it's such a wonderful song. I'm so happy they decided to do this song, because it was time for the Beast to finally get a song. I mean, he's the main character with Belle, and he doesn't get a song. It's just, you can see so much emotion and pain in this song, and I think visually it's amazing. Something that I love about this film is just, it explains all the questions that were not answered in the original one, and that's such a crucial part, that why I love this film. Because in the first one, as a kid, you don't think about these things, but then you later on, you grow old, and you still love the film, but you're like, but what happened to Belle's mom? Or why did people just forgot about the prince, And how was the prince when he got casted? All these questions that don't make that much sense, You're just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna enjoy the film. But in this one, they explain every single detail. To think that they're so, that maybe you didn't notice in the original one. They're like, oh my gosh, that makes total sense. Just, they make sure that to build this film and make it rich, and yeah, definitely way more, it's more serious than the original one, for sure. I guess some kids maybe would be afraid of some of these scenes. It's like wolves. I mean, they had wolves in the original one, but the tone is more serious in this film, for sure. And just the amount of information we get. You get more information of the Beast, more information of Belle, and you understand these characters more. And it's great. And it's great to see that with these characters too, because they're so lovable, and to learn more about them it's amazing, for sure. But they're not radical changes, and it's not like Maleficent, they changed the story completely. I mean, I still love Maleficent, I really liked it, but I know some people didn't. But it stays really true to the original one, but there's small changes and more information given that makes this film so rich, so good. And like we saw also in the trailers, Belle is more, feminist. You can see, teaching her little kids how to read, and she's more independent. And it's really, again, it's not a spoiler, but yeah, it's really nice to see this character. Because Belle was one of the first princesses to not be like, oh, I'm looking for a prince, okay? She's actually wants to learn, she wants to explore, she wants all these wonderful things. She's not waiting for a man to rescue her. She goes and creates her own happiness. And that was a huge thing in the original one. So I'm really glad they not just, stay true to that, but they made it 1,000 times better. So if you see that, I hope you enjoy it, because it's a great role model for young girls, and even like older women can be like, yeah, you go, Belle. And let me see if there's any things I want to mention. Yeah, and finally I want to mention the romance in this film. We all, you know, the first film was really short, and you see, of course, Belle and the Beast falling in love, but in such a fast amount of time. In this one, there's more dialogue, there's more conversations between each other, so it's more real. You can, and all the little new things they brought, you can really see how slowly this romance appears. Because, you know, let's be realistic, you cannot just fall in love with a person from one day to another one. You have to know them. There has to be, you know, growth into that. So that's something I think that was wonderful in this film. They really explore that, and I guess everyone in the audience, I can tell everyone in the audience just really felt that connection between the two of them. And it's really magical, for sure. It really takes that fairy tale feeling, but it's at the same time so real. You know, you're watching this woman fall in love with this buffalo guy, but it's just, you know, it's a fairy tale and you believe it. So it was a really tough job, I'm gonna say, for Disney to, you know, it's such a lovable classic that everyone's like, there's no way they can recreate it. The original one is always gonna be better. And for some reason, for some people it might be like that, but for me, I think they did a wonderful job. I think they made it even better than the original one. I enjoyed it more than the original one. And definitely, I'm really excited for all the upcoming live action movies. If they stay to this level, I think they're gonna achieve many, many more wonderful films. So that was my opinion of this film. I loved it. I know it's a bit controversial, this film, for many people, but I honestly love every single aspect of this film. Of course, I can see some flaws, whatever, with some plot elements, whatever, but I think overall it's just magical and wonderful. So my name is Sol, and this was Coog Cinema Reviews. One more thing, you can subscribe here, and Coog TV is free, so why don't you do it? And you can see more of these movie reviews and just news and many more amazing things here in the University of Houston. And also you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you.